Hello, my friends. Welcome to your Tuesday Thought Twist. I'm your life coach, Deb Penner with Drops in the Bucket. And this is your weekly opportunity to become a better manager of your beautiful human mind. So we're just coming off of my fall phenomenon women's retreat, and something came up for us ladies that were gathered at the retreat over the weekend that I thought was a really beautiful lesson to bring to you here. It is two words that you may feel free to totally eliminate from your vocabulary. And in doing so, you will find greater personal power, a better ability to take up space, better focus in your voice, a greater ability to use your voice. And you will also find greater sincerity and more clear communication. So ditching just two words out of your vocabulary can do so much to move you towards a life of clarity and confidence and centeredness. Any guess what those two words might be? I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I bumped into you. I'm sorry. I have something to say. I'm sorry. I don't agree with you. I'm sorry, you don't approve of me. I'm sorry, I'm sorry, I'm sorry, I'm sorry. Women in particular have a tendency to say I'm sorry a lot. Way too much. Before we dive a little deeper into this, you may be thinking, but wait, Deb, how will I ever apologize for something if I take the words I'm sorry out of my vocabulary? Because sometimes we are sorry. And it's appropriate to apologize when you have actually done something wrong. And this came up this weekend too, and I really liked it. It's a little easier to get away from saying I'm sorry if you don't have to decide, is this a situation in which it's appropriate for me to use those two words? If we just take those two words and throw them out, then we have an easier time stopping the I'm sorry's when we're not actually sorry. But then what happens when we are? What happens when you need to apologize? So in that case, you may use two different words. I apologize. I apologize. And we can still leave I'm sorry in the trash. So is it appropriate to apologize when you have done something wrong? Yes. Is it appropriate to apologize all the rest of the time? No. So the first step, always, right? Always, the first step is awareness. So start paying attention to how often you and the people around you say, I'm sorry, sorry. Pay particular attention to the difference between how often the women in your life and in your circle say, I'm sorry, compared to the men. Take some time to reflect on why that might be. What might be underneath that? Watch as a parent, if you're a parent, how often you're directing your children to say they are sorry and in what situations. Are you encouraging your children first to explore their internal world, or are you teaching your children to just vomit I'm sorry all over the place as a course of habit? Because that's how most of us as women began over apologizing. Is we were taught that I'm sorry is always the appropriate response. Somebody actually said this weekend, I remember my mother telling me it doesn't matter what the situation is, it will always go better if you say you're sorry. Better for whom? Just checking. Better for whom? So if you look inside and you feel regretful, then it's appropriate to apologize. But if you simply have something to say, if you simply disagree, if you are simply taking up space, if someone else does not like you or what you have had to say or what you are doing, these are not appropriate times and places for you to apologize. So take I'm sorry, wad it up, throw it out, save I apologize for the times when it's appropriate. And again, begin with looking at how often you say you're sorry, and then look for some other opportunities to express what you're trying to express with different words. If you bump into somebody, you may wish to acknowledge that, but you could say, excuse me, pardon me. Hello, pardon me. If you have something to say, you could also say, excuse me. You could say, I have something to say. I would like to share something about that. I have something to contribute. Instead of saying, I'm sorry, but I have something to say. That's a pretty common one. I'm sorry, but I don't agree with that. I'm sorry, but I don't think that's a good idea. Don't be sorry. Just share what you have to say. So start looking, start noticing. Tell me what you're seeing. I would be super curious to hear your thoughts about this. What have your experiences been with this up until this point? Some of you have already abandoned I'm sorry. I would love to hear about that. If you would like to explore this farther, if you need a little bit of help with this, or if you're curious about anything else that we've talked about in the Tuesday Thought Twist, please do remember that you can always talk to me for free. The easiest way to do that is just to visit my website, which is drops, D-R-O-P-S, with Deb.com. Right there on the homepage, scroll down just a little bit, and there's a button. It says Talk to Me. So if you click that button, you can set up a free consultation, just a no pressure opportunity to talk about what's on your mind and to explore what coaching around that might look like for you. So if you would like to learn how to throw out I'm sorry, how to apologize better when you mean it, why you feel the need to say you're sorry about everything, those are great things to explore in a coaching container. So I would love to talk with you. And if I don't talk to you before then, I will see you right here next week for another Tuesday Thought Twist. Have a great day.